All right, welcome back. In our last video, we talked about social structure. Social structure, the part of the machine that determines, or I shouldn't say determines, and actually I'm going to catch myself and just make the important point that you always have a choice to resist what society is doing. Society is, you step into it and it is compressing you into patterns of thoughts and behaviors. But all society can do is influence you. You ultimately have the choice of doing what you want to do. That's what agency is called. So last time what we were talking about was social structure, the part of the machine that is responsible for the patterns of behavior that we see. And we talked about patterns of behavior. I act the same way every time I am in the status of college professor. I always lecture. I always go on and on about things. I always ask for questions. And every professor who does that basically does the same type of thing that I do. All drivers basically act in the same way. Social structure influences behavior because you always can do something different. All right, where we ended last time was the idea that there are informal situations like hanging out with your friends, walking across campus, and formal situations. The difference between them is that formal situations directly contribute to us meeting our needs. Remember, the whole machine here, the whole point of the machine is to take people and turn them into thoughts and behaviors that will efficiently and securely meet our needs. Happiness is not part of it, it's meeting our needs. And so where we are now is in the part of the social structure that is directly responsible for that, social institutions. I'm going to define social institutions for you right now. Social institutions are patterned ways of meeting our needs. Patterned ways of meeting our needs. Now, what's important in this, this for our purposes is crucial, social institutions are not the same thing as organizations. Social institutions, as you can tell from the definition, are behaviors, which again would make some sense. It's part of social structure, so it's statuses and norms, right? That's what social institutions are made of. Patterned ways of meeting needs. We meet needs in the same way every day or whenever we need to meet them. So for example, meeting the need of food for survival. I don't one day come in and teach for a paycheck and then the next day go hunt and gather and then the next day plant crops and then the next day like break into my neighbor's house and steal what they have. I'm always doing the same thing. I work to get a paycheck in order to buy food from the grocery store. It's patterned and it's a behavior. So that's what social institutions are. They're patterned ways of meeting our needs. Examples of social institutions. So to meet our need for survival, we have what I've kind of just illustrated. For us, it's going to work and for somebody else generally and collecting a paycheck. That social institution is called the economy. We have to be trained to take part in the economy, and the social institution that is responsible for training people is education. Importantly, economy is not the same as a company. Education is not the same as a school. One of them is an organization, the other is the social institution. Social institutions are the patterned ways of meeting the need. Our need for order in society is met by the social institution of government. Our need for meaning, to understand what this is all about, is met by the social institution of religion. And those are just some examples of needs that we have: survival, training, order, meaning, and the social institution the name that we have given to the social institution for meeting those needs. Importantly, we meet those needs consistently over time. We basically have a patterned way of acting that allows us to meet those needs. Okay, organizations exist within social institutions. And I just sort of went over some of these. In the economy, in that social institution, we have corporations. In education, we have schools. In government, we have legislatures. And and executive agencies that are designed to that are organizations that are designed to create rules and enforce them. Within the social institution of religion, we have churches. Importantly, and this is a sort of a definition of organizations, at least one that I'm considering keeping with us throughout the course of our class, because it links the idea of social institutions existing here. But if you recall, I also said social institutions are fictional symbols. So the definition that, at least for right now, I want us to work with here is organizations are aggregates of statuses within social institutions. So aggregates meaning that they are a group of statuses that we have united together. Remember last time when I had a college, a flow chart of a college with president, vice presidents, deans, department heads. Those are aggregates of statuses, a whole bunch of statuses that are put together. And that's the first part of the definition. Organizations, aggregates of statuses within a particular social institution that we turn into a fictional symbol. So basically what we have are a whole bunch of statuses with behaviors that we group together and say, this is the College of Charleston. And then it's all of a sudden got this fictional symbol that we've imagined into existence that doesn't exist other than in our imagination. You and I could teach you sociology. We could do this exact same thing outside of the context of a college. We don't do that because we've imagined into existence this thing. All right, so organizations, last time, and a more kind of clear run through it. Organizations, aggregates of statuses within a social institution that we turn into a fictional symbol. That's what an organization is. And that is it for Unit 1. So what we've got is we built a society. We insert human beings into it. They understand reality because of the symbolic universe in a particular way. They have a particular orientation to how they're supposed to live because of the collective consciousness. Therefore, you put a person into this machine and they have patterns of thoughts. All the unique individuals that step into a particular machine have a large overlap in terms of the way they understand the world and what's supposed to happen in it. They then step further into particular situations during their day. And they're either informal, you wake up in your house with your family or in your dorm room with your roommate, and it's an informal moment. But it still is patterned, right? You have a particular status, a particular position, and there are expectations on you. Then you might step out of that informal and into a formal situation in which you are, in this case, for example, getting trained to take part in the economy. So you're in the social institution of education. And what we're going to study is within those social institutions, the organizations, the aggregates of statuses that we then imagine to have, we imagine into existence as a fictional symbol. All right, that is it for Unit 1. Congratulations, you made it through. I will see you again in a set of lectures for Unit 2.